How my borderline personality disorder ex left me after almost dying in a car accident. I dated this girl back 2018 in my first year of university when I was 18. I was always on off with this girl, and always took her back as she always manipulated me to make me feel so bad for her. She would literally fight and break up or take breaks, monthly first then became an almost weekly occurrence. I honestly think we broke up 20-30 times in the 13 months we dated lol. Never knew what borderline personality disorder was while we dated, and she was actually my first girlfriend, so I was so confused during that mess of a relationship, thinking that maybe this is how young love is supposed to go. I would have most likely still been with her till this day stuck in the cycle, but a few years ago while I was dating Exub, I was actually in a traumatic near-death car accident, where I had broken 3-4 limbs, got metal plates in my face jaw, and was in TH hospital for a few months. She was super loving, freaking out with my family at first, but that surely didn't stick for too long after I woke up back in consciousness lol. You would expect these people to Atlas not split and be there for you after a crazy almost near-death experience, right? But you're absolutely wrong. She went back to her old ways, constantly fighting whenever there wasn't any nurse's family in my hospital room. She then ended it noting the dumbest reasons like, I am so selfish and don't let her look after and care for her dad who had kidney problems dialysis. She maybe came to see me 2-4 times a week at the hospital, so I barely took up any of her time. My mom has Parkinson's, and I never would use my ex as someone who got in the way of taking care of my mom. And what's even more nuts is this girl would get so mad-tempered at me, and on the verge of breaking up when there was a day I wasn't able to come out to see her, because I had to stay home and look after my mom, as she would be home alone otherwise. It's insane what narcissists/BPDs make up say to justify their stupid-ass decisions in life double standards. Anyways, she ended up leaving me while I was in the hospital going though that all. I found out from someone else that she actually went to this concert at the club literally a day or two breaking up with me. She was doing whatever to have a good time to distract herself, while I was stuck to the hospital bed with all my racing thoughts. I never even did say anything to her to make her act like this. She would always tell me how I'm the first guy who actually showed her how to properly be loved and cared for. One of her exes was a habitual cheater, and the other was a drug dealer who sometimes went as far as physically beating her. So none of this was making sense to me. She was saying some of the most hurtful things I have ever heard in my life after discarding me then also. Like,
oh my god, I can finally get some D after 2 long months.
And even went as far as saying I should have just died in my car accident. After all that, she still tried to hoover back 2 weeks after reasoning. She missed her BF so much, crying so much over the phone, trying to instigate guilt out of me, which I did still feel to a degree. I felt so shit for the few months I was recovering from that accident breakup. It was probably the darkest few months of my life ever. I couldn't stop thinking about everything. How someone I shared such a deep and loving connection could leave me while I was going through the most difficult event in my life, making things 10x worse as she was my first girlfriend breakup. Like she had zero empathy for everything I was going through at the time. Like she didn't care about all the stress this was putting me through, on top of all the stress I already had from such a traumatic car accident. I still remember while I was in the hospital, I had a nurse which I was close to, and I felt like she really cared about me as I was the youngest in her ward. She was the night shift nurse, and she would give me medications before I went to bed, and in the middle of the night also. I remember how she came into my room in the middle of the night, and she had caught me a few times with tears all over my face when she came to check up on me. She was so understandable, and was such a good person, good heart to talk to, so it was really nice to talk to her about everything, my feelings. She also got the doctor to prescribe me Valium and Zopiclone, only for duration of hospital stay, as she knew herself that my heart was shattered. A few months after when I was discharged and at home, she began hoovering again, and this time I actually did entertain it, just because of the trauma bond and the sex, mostly best sex ever. One day, however, my older sister, closest person to me, noticed me texting her on my phone. That actually made her start crying. She then explained how she thinks I'm the sweetest, most kind little brother in the world, and it seriously hurts her so much to see me go through all this toxic relationship. After that happened, I for real went no contact since then, and have been for all the years since. I just thought how I was still loved so immensely by so many family friends, and there's no reason for me to entertain this toxic love. The years following, it took me years to heal myself and start seeing other people. Even though she started seeing other people a month after discard me, while I was still in the hospital. I took my time to be patient with love and to heal my broken heart. Fast forward to today. I'm starting to do better day by day. I graduated university and got an amazing job. However, something still feels a little off for some reason. Sort of like I'm never going to be the same person ever again, and I know a lot of people who were in BPD relationships can agree say the same exact thing. Fast forward till today for my ex. She totally tarnished her entire reputation about 1-2 years after discarding me. She was caught in this huge scandal about how she had this sugar baby, sugar daddy relationship with this guy cheating on his wife. She was put on blast as the wife found out, and posted so much incriminating evidence on Instagram about her on IG. No one wanted anything to do with her after that, and she even had the audacity to hoover me after that, saying things like she feels so terrible for leaving me and how she never should have, and also how she faced the karma for all her wrongdoings. I obviously didn't budge while she tried throwing all that guilt my way, even asking her what wrongdoings did I do to deserve the karma I got. Wanted to share this story, so anyone thinking of sticking it through and actually committing to a BPD relationship can really understand how this people truly move. It's all fake a show they put on. They don't truly love you, their brain is just in a phase of idealization. Your partner should be your crutch during your hard times, sticking by your side. But it really isn't like that for PWBPD. They're extremely selfish and only thinking for themselves always. As soon as life starts to become difficult or you yourself began losing value, they will be running in the different direction. They use you, and when they are done using you, you have having nothing left to give them. They leave you. One of my friends also had an exopt before also. She broke up with him as soon as he was laid off from this really good job. As soon as he found another job a few months later, she began to hoover back off. I feel she did all this because my friend used to pay for spoil her with fun, restaurants, expensive trips. Then funny enough, as soon as he got an even better job 5 months later, she returned, citing how that was the worst decision she's ever made, and how she can only imagine her marrying him in the future. And off wasn't true as she got engaged to another guy 1.5 years later loudly. I feel like I truly dodged a bullet with her, and the stories I've read on this subreddit can only reinforce that. It's not worth getting married to someone who makes everything super difficult to deal with only to end up divorcing them 20-30 years later. That's a lot of time to lose, and I know most of those individuals wish that they could have spent that time energy toward an actual meaningful relationship, which didn't drain all their energy resources. And more importantly, I'm happy to not be with her as I'm doing a griot service or my future children. I can't even imagine having a parent with BPD.